Oh, 3 6s and a 5. That gives them quite a lot of latitude. 3 6s clearly being leaders, and a 5 being a movement. That's going to need some thinking about. Give me a second. What we're going to do, because we've got lots of leaders, we can use all 3 of those as movement. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this regular cavalry from down here as the movement order, the number 5 order rather than the leader order. He's going to go 1, 2 and move up into this region at Hornet's Nest. Johnston here, we've got a 2 border in this place. We're going to use 1, 2 as one order, 3, 4 as the second order of the 6s that we rolled. We've got crikey O'Reilly. We have got one big bash going into here. It's on the flat, which means that the cavalry that's in there can do a cavalry charge. And the other leader order, which is this guy here, he can do a fire order up into the hills on this turn. Let's do the... Well, we can predict it's going to fail straight away anyway, because it just does, doesn't it? And our cavalry, artillery failed once again. So it's now this big bash up here. We've moved our units into place. There's no point playing any other card apart from a morale check card. We play that at the start of the turn. I shall go through that slightly with you. We can do all the dice rolls afterwards. Basically, when you get into here, you can, as an attacking unit, because there's loads of defenders in here, we're unlikely to actually clear everybody back out of it and take the region. But with the morale check card, if we're successful on our morale check with certain parameters, as in surrounding units and units destroyed in the battle, it gives us a dice roll that we could force them to, their morale to be lost and them to have to break and come back through. Now, in response to that, I think that the Union soldiers are going to be playing these 2 cards, but I think they can get played. That would get played. It's itself, my mistake. The retreat card. I think they may be thinking about playing these cards, depending on what happens in this battle. That can modify the morale result in their favour, and this here can cancel one of the retreats. We'll have to see how this works with a little bit of thinking about. The first thing we must do, though, is this attack in here. The defending units get 6 dice to roll. It's the maximum of 6 dice. That's all that they've got to use. Looking at 5s and 6s, and just the 1 damage, or 1 hit, should we say, onto the Confederates. The Confederates will be suffering 1 unit to retreat. That unit's going to be, I think, one of their regular infantry. He goes back to where he came from, and we're going to be using 3 dice for this guy, 3 dice for the veterans. That's the maximum of 6. It doesn't matter what else is in there. And we are playing that morale check card. Let's see how all this plays out. That's quite good. That's 3 hits on the opposition. And we've done 1 damage and 2 retreats. So let me just double check all my thinking and calculations with this morale check and get back to you then. Okay, it takes a little bit of working out. We're going to be retreating 2 units in here, and we're taking 1 damage. That's what we have to do because of the cards. We can leave some units in here by cancelling it using some of these hold orders, but we're not going to be doing that in this case because the Confederate Army are playing this morale check card. That takes some working out too. It's a base number of 1. If you roll 1 or less from 2 dice, obviously impossible, then these units in here that would remain after battle because they're there, the attackers haven't made it, forcing these guys back. If we can roll below, equal or below this modified number, then these units will have to retreat because their morale has dropped down. So what we're going to be doing, we've got a base number of 1, we've got 3 surrounding adjacent territories with our units in here. That makes that +3, and we've inflicted 3 casualties onto the opposition. That makes it a +7. We have to roll 7 or less, and these guys' morale will drop. They will have to retreat. So in response to that, the Union player is going to play his modified the morale check result, which means it's going to add 1 to our die roll. So effectively, that card has been used. This card will be used, and the Confederate player will have to roll a 6 or less on 2 dice to try to get these guys out of here. Otherwise, they have to retreat after combat. And they've rolled a 5. Nice. So that means these guys have to pull back. Nearest place, doesn't matter, go back with the same units all into one place, into here, and Hornet's Nest has now been captured with that, you have to say, fairly fortunate die roll of getting those extra movements that we've managed to get units in here in the first place, and that modified the die roll from that morale check. That's worked out really nicely. Let me just slurp some more coffee in my throat. Okay, with that downtime, I managed to give ourselves a little bit of thinking time as a Union player, what we're going to do. We would expect it to have seen Grant by now, but the Blues have rolled so few dice, giving us cards, and somewhere in here is Grant. He's going to come out at some point and giving us that 3rd dice. The Greys have come forward really nicely. The Confederates have moved themselves into quite a strong position. The centre ground is still really tough, and they're getting this pincer movement north and south. I think as a Union player, we've got to be thinking about perhaps evacuating Shiloh Church now, moving back out and trying to hold on as much as we can, not let Pittsburgh Landing fall to the opposition. So 2 dice for the Union soldiers, a 5 and a 2, still no cards to draw. 1 is a move, 1 is a fire. We're going to think about moving units back out of Shiloh Church, as we said. 2 units, the injured veteran, he's big and brave. We're going to leave him in there. We're going to move 2 units, 1 damaged and 1 not damaged, up to there with our movement order. Try and get some sort of front there against Hornet's Nest, and 1 fire order. Let's fire back down here versus Beauregard's army. That's how it's pronounced. I got no idea. And the Union artillery fail as well. So that's the end of the Blues' turn. Back over onto the Greys. Their 4 order dice. A leader's order, a movement, a fire, and a card. All the cards are being drawn by the CSA. They might end day 1 way in advance of the Blues. And another friendly fire card. Good, like that one. Leader's order, a move, and a fire. Let us use the leader to fire this artillery into this region. We use our fire order to fire from this region into this region. That gives us 2 fires into there, and then we have 1 move left afterwards. So we've got no extra artillery card. We're looking at 5s and 6s, and they fail. They're funny dice today, aren't they? And our movement order that we have left, let's have 1 unit catching up a little bit. We can afford to leave him back here, slightly weaker down here, but I said, you know, the Union are in disarray on this side, so it's a single movement order border, that one there. We can get a 3rd guy into here, and I'll tidy it up because my fingers are all fumbly. That's the end of the Confederate turn. Union turn. Roll some good dice, please. A 5 and a 1. Finally get another card. So 1's movement, 1 is a card. Is it going to be Grant? No, it isn't. It's another movement. But that gives them 2 movements. They've got a movement card and a movement dice. Again, we can start chipping things across, trying to get some bulk over to this side of the map before the greys come around too quickly. It's a 2-border here. We can move 2 units across. That would be 1 movement order. And I think another movement order, we're going to start moving units back towards Pittsburgh. He only came from there in the first place, that guy. He must have his feet up on his holidays, I think. So, 4 dice for the CSA. 2 movements, 1 fire, and 1 card again. The Union are jealous of these cards being drawn. And another movement order, and that's quite important because I've already got a movement order here. I think we may be combining a lot of these cards together on this turn. Try to utilise this now. So we would have 4 movements to be able to play, and a fire. The card's already gone. So let's see if we can smash into Shiloh Church here. 1 guy from any of these 3 places can fire into here with its artillery. And miss. Okay. Now we've got 2 movement orders. We can move in 2 units across this border here because it's a 2-unit boundary for 1 of our orders. So we can put in lots and lots of firepower. A veteran and an infantry. That will give us 5 dice. That's 1 of our movement dice. A second movement, we can get 2 guys across, or 1 guy across this border. My mistake. 1 guy across this border. That will give us now fat fingers. I'm thinking and talking at the same time. Oh, I'm knocking things for 6. That's our second order. We have 2 movement cards, and again we're just going to do a little bit of backing up. I think we'll use 1 of these cards to move this guy into this region, and then 1 card to move this guy, or 1 of the guys from the hilltop down to there. That's good thinking in my book. That's all our movements taken care of. We have now this battle in here. And I think we may be using that card. We don't have to use the firepower card, but sometime in combat. It's not played before, it's played during if we need it. And we do have a friendly fire card that we are definitely going to be playing because these guys have got 6 dice against us. Or rather, they have 5 dice and a friendly fire dice. It is on the flat, so it's not a oops, wrecking the place now. It's not a 4-5, it's just a 5 and a 6 as their defensive numbers. Oh, and they've done 1 damage to themselves, but they've done 3 lots of casualties to us. Let's see which way the casualties go. So 1 of theirs must retreat, 2 of ours must retreat, and 1 of our Confederates is damaged. So we would take damage and retreat. We will take retreat as this guy stays in place, and they have 1 retreat done to themselves. It might as well be 1 of the injured guys, which leaves the Confederate player with 3 dice to roll in. That's 3 dice, but with his firepower card, 1 extra hit dice, we can roll 4 grey dice against the opposition. We need some lucky. Oh, that was a 6, wasn't it? We can't count that. I dropped the dice. It would be incredible if we can get those 3 guys to move back, and we missed them entirely. That's a shame. So this guy comes back in. He came from this region, if I remember rightly. Let me tidy everything up after dropping the dice and fumbling and get back to you with the Blues turn. Okay, everything's been reset straight again. My fingers are less fumbly. I'm going to finish off this turn. It's the Blues to go now at the end of the turn. It's always the Confederates first. followed by the Union player, a 4 and a 2, which is a move and a fire order. Let's just have a think about this. We're going to move one of our damaged infantry into this unit here. That can now sit on top of the hill, boosting up this surround. And we do have this hill here, which we probably want to get units onto as well at some point in time. And we're going to have one little fire order. We haven't done much against these cavalry for a little while. Let's just try and throw a cannon into these guys over here across the river. We've hit him. Oh, nice. And it's going to move him back. It's done something. It's just not a lot at all. But I think that's going to have to end this video because I must rest my throat. Young Poppet down here has been nagging me to go out for a walk. So, quick reprise. We think that the Confederate Army have made some good progress forward. The Union have been in disarray slightly, but they've managed to rebuild themselves. They've got actually not too bad a position in terms of protecting enough of these key areas and getting hold of this one important hill with a star on it. There's going to be a victory condition at the end of day one, provided they get there. They got loads of cards. Grant still hasn't arrived. When Grant arrives, the Blues will get a third dice to roll. It's painfully slow for them. The Confederates have got through quite a lot of their card pack. They're going to end day one way before the Blues will end the day one, and then obviously those cards will have been effectively wasted to some degree.